What is up, my ninjas? I'm Strident, and I'm back with another video. This time, I wanted to do some Joe talk. I just watched FormBx 257. Watched his video about the 50th anniversary toys, and I love that you got a lot of people. I won't say you guys because there's mostly people that weren't subscribed and people who don't normally watch my videos that popped up because they saw that I was talking negatively about what Hasbro was doing with G.I. Joe. I love that, you know, little by little. I mean, I was out the gate. I was probably the first out the gate with these kind of reviews talking about Hasbro fucking up a franchise that deserves so much more. And a lot of people acted like what I was saying was just crazy talk. Like, no, Hasbro wouldn't do that. Hasbro loves us. Oh, toys are expensive. Blah, blah, blah. And, you know, you all missed the point that they missed the point that 50th anniversary for G.I. Joe, not for a real American hero. G.I. Joe, the whole franchise, that's a big deal because G.I. Joe is the father of the modern action figure. For you to have a 50th anniversary that's so lackluster, it shows that the people that are in front of this, the people in charge, the people that are supposed to be spearheading Hasbro's development with all these figures and such, they don't know what they're doing or they just don't give a shit. FormBx made some good points because he said at one point that with a lot of these, it felt like Hasbro's listening to the fans or fandom and equally trolling them at the same time. Now, I didn't think that at first because I don't feel like they listen to us. I feel like they do what they think is what we are saying, or their version of what they've heard on the you know, different forums and such. And also, I think they listen to the wrong fans. What are the wrong fans, you say? Just because you're vocal and loud and you know, on every single G.I. Joe related site doesn't mean you know what's up with G.I. Joe. It means you buy all that shit and you follow it. A lot of people don't get G.I. Joe. A lot of collectors, they collect G.I. Joe and been collecting G.I. Joe and don't get it. And they get on these forums, they get on Hasbro sites, and they say, we want this and we want that. And Hasbro says, hey, there's those guys over there that say they want Cobra vehicles in G.I. Joe colors. Like, the rest of us are like, what the fuck? We don't want that. We want updates to, like, classic shit that could be done better. You know what I mean? But instead, Hasbro's like, which one's more cost effective? I know. Let's just make those... let's just make Cobra vehicles in Joe colors and Joe vehicles in Cobra colors. They'll love it. They've already said they wanted it. And that's how they feel like they're honoring the fan base. And then, you know, those same fans who will buy anything regardless, you know, they don't need to be listened to because they're going to spend the money because that's what they do. They're happy because they got what they asked for and they got an additional thing to buy. In the end, those are the fans who kind of fuck it up for everybody. You know, and I've said this a lot in my time reviewing and doing videos. Since I started doing these videos, I've been saying this. So there are fans that are detrimental to, you know, the object that they are a fan of. And they're vocal and they're not very smart when it comes to what should be done. I mean, a lot of people like movies, but it doesn't mean they know how to make movies. You know what I mean? A lot of people like cars and buy and collect cars, but it doesn't mean they know how to make a car. They don't know how to design the fucking car. They know what they like. And the same goes with like stories and comics and such. You can't let your fans write the story. Because if they could write the story, then they would be writing and making those books. They would be making those comics. They're fans. You gave them a product. You give them the product. You look at what you did in the past that was successful, and you use that data to move forward. Hasbro, it's just like they're not even doing that. I mean, they look at Pursuit of Cobra was like a runaway success. You can look up all the sales figures. You can look up all the places. It was a success. The problem that they ran into was distribution. There were problems with distribution, and that caused problems for them. As far as the figures themselves selling, just about everything that they freaking put out sold. There were a handful of characters that it was like, meh, and even they sold, though. You know what I mean? Like in the early, was it like the first couple waves, first like 3 or 4 waves of Pursuit of Cobra, they were like really kind of meh designs, like that the Cobra Commander, like Snow Job. A lot of people liked. Snow Job's one of my favorites, but I know I've heard when we were on the community, a lot of people were just like, it's Snow Job. You know what I mean? General Hawk, a lot of people were like, but then they missed out on him and everybody wanted him, and then he was reoffered multiple times. And then I saw like Toys R Us putting back out Pursuit of Cobra stuff like a year ago. Maybe it was a year or 2 ago. I don't remember. I think it's about a year ago. And, you know, a lot of people went back and got them. So I'm just saying that it's funny to me when I'm listening to, you know, other videos talking about this stuff, mainly the one I just watched with FormBx 257. He points out a whole bunch of stuff. He even pointed out, based on what he saw on the different forums, that certain sets should not be popular because they're not really like the wolf, the snow wolf or whatever, or Cobra Wolf. It's not really, you can find that same vehicle, the 1980s version, and it's not a super expensive find. I think it's about the same, maybe about close to what it costs if you split up the cost of that set. You can find it on eBay for that price. You know what I mean? Or close to it. And they didn't change shit. They didn't even change the peg holes so that you could put your Modern Joes that come in the package with it, you could put them in the damn vehicle. Like that, if that's not shitting on your fans, if that's not ignoring your fans, I don't know what is. You know what I mean? Like, Hasbro has completely forgotten about us. Yeah, they're showing up to places where they can get money from you because they know there's those fans who, regardless of the situation, those people will always buy some shit if it's offered and it says G.I. Joe on the package. They know. They fucking know. But they're not really innovating. They're not moving things forward. I mean, there's a couple of the characters that were offered that are redesigns, like Spirit is a redesign. What was his name? Steeler. They redesigned Steeler. Bazooka, he just got recolored. But just when you look at how random stuff is, like why is, and he pointed this out too, and I said this way back when, but you know me, I got so pissed off at Hasbro, I just stopped talking about these things. But so you have the rivalry, what was it called? Classic Rivalry or something like that. Anyway, the 2-pack with Storm Shadow and Spirit. Why is Storm Shadow the version of Storm Shadow that comes from when he was a Joe? You know what I mean? And he's fighting Spirit in a new design. Like, at least be consistent and take the version of, like, update the version of Storm Shadow that was a villain, or one of the versions of him that was a villain, that's going up against, you know, Spirit. Maybe even the version that was in the cartoon fighting Spirit. You know what I'm saying? But no. They didn't even do that. And you guys are like, not you guys, but the fans, the usual suspects are like, oh my god, it's so awesome, I'm gonna buy it. That shit's gotta stop. I mean, that's why we're in this mess. I mean, I don't know how many more clear examples need to be given so that all you guys out there, the naysayers, all of you who are on the fence, all of you who think that I'm a hater, I don't know how many more clear examples need to pop up so that you get it. I point this stuff out because I want to go to the store or go online and buy G.I. Joe shit without Hasbro trolling me. You know what I'm saying? Like, Hasbro is trolling us all because you guys ask for dumb stuff and they're like, hey, we can do that, it's cheap, so we're going to do it. And then they do it in a spectacularly horrible fashion, and you're all like, yeah, and Hasbro's laughing like, oh my god, are you kidding me? We don't have to fucking try. Just put out a fucking teal version of Gung Ho. Whereas everybody else has been updated. Shit, they even updated Gung Ho when Rise of Cobra came out. And here we go back to the classic look, the 25th anniversary look, the Sunbow look, in a line where everybody's modernized. And they didn't even change his colors, you know, give him the, I mean, he's got teal in the camo on his pants. What the fuck? I'm just like, and you guys are like, this is awesome because it's gung ho. I mean, I know it's the one we saw in the concept case, and I want that, but not with no teal. There's what with the teal clips or teal bullets in the bandolier or belt on his for the gun that he took from heavy duty. Come on, man. You guys don't want more than that. So anyway, I think that's just funny. I urge you guys to just look at, you can go on his tank if you want. They have a cool little kind of like a database of all these figures. I think the yojo.com database is better. It has more, it has everything. Literally from version 1 all the way up to whatever the last version of and all of the characters are. Vehicles, tells you everything about them, shows you everything about them. They're real thorough over there. Check those things out and see what I'm talking about. When I say there's a lack of consistency, G.I. Joe always was hit or miss with their updates to characters. But a lot of characters did not suffer that fate. A lot of characters managed to get very cool, very consistent redesigns with colors that made sense. Sometimes they go from being outlandish to more tactical and real world. But then, like, as far as color schemes go, but then, like, the specialty in their weapons and gimmicks, they maintain that outlandish nature that is most of the G.I. Joe universe, you know what I mean? And then there's other characters who they just tried everything with them. But, when you look at those, and then you look at what we got for our modern updates in this 50th anniversary, it's like people weren't trying. You know what I mean? It's literally like, what was the simplest thing we could do? Let's do it. And they did that. And, you guys still bought it, even though you clearly aren't impressed with it. So, I mean, and it's gonna crack me up to see how these things will sell, because I remember when they first came out, I was seeing them on eBay. People were posting them on Facebook, the eBay posts, and they're going up on eBay for like 3 times and 2 times what they cost in the store right now, because this is the routine. This is what they always do. But then, like, the older figures like Alpine, you remember 25th anniversary Alpine, even though it's not that good of a figure, he always was super expensive. I'm talking like $100, $200, $180. You know what I mean? He was always expensive. Now, since the 50th anniversary packs came out, I saw him go down to like 25. You know what I mean? To 15. And I'm like, wow. But then I see the 3-pack that has him in it go up. And I'm like, really? Do you guys see the lack of logic in this? So, just do your research. Go look, see what's going on. And just, look at it for yourself and see where there is a disconnect, where the wrong people are allowing things to go in the wrong direction. You'll see what I'm talking about. Compare it. Look at them, and then go look at Masters of the Universe Classics. Everything that the fans wanted for Masters of the Universe Classics, it existed. So they were like, I want an update to this toy that existed from the 80s. I don't want a new something. I want you to do this better. And Mattel was like, yeah, we could do that. And they did it. The original guys that made them the first time did it. And the shit sold. Everything they make sells like hotcakes. Then you go over to G.I. Joe, who's been around longer than He-Man, by like 20 years or so. And you just can't, we can't get the same thing, you know what I mean? Look at the Transformers stuff. Look at how Hasbro managed to update everything up to about when the first or second movie came out. And then look at how third parties started to pick up where Hasbro left off. So, like, Hasbro started going in these weird directions with their figures. They were kind of phasing out the Chud lines, generations and classics and blah, blah, blah. They were getting rid of that stuff. It was like they weren't really as committed as they once were. And then the third party people were like, hey, this is what we wanted. We want a continuation of the classics, the Chuds. So let's make figures that fit in that world. Then the masterpiece stuff was becoming big, and they were like, shit, let's make better masterpieces. And that's essentially where third parties have been going. The third party companies have been going since then, whereas Hasbro is barely doing anything. Takara even is doing better stuff along the lines of what they always did. Even with the shitty releases that we have here, Takara's versions are always like a couple steps above. You know what I mean? So look at it and compare it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. All this shit exists. Strident is not making up stuff. I'm just comparing what I see, and I'm not happy with it when it comes to G.I. Joe, and I am hardcore. G.I. Joe is my shit. That is the one line I went from straight up nothing when it came to G.I. Joe because I was a kid and I was like, I'm going to put my figures through the ringer. And then, you know, I got older and I'm like, dude, I like this stuff. I need to keep it because I want to show my sons how awesome this shit is. And now I actually have a sizable collection, and I managed to cherry pick from, you know, parts that I wanted, vehicles from all over, characters mainly from 25th all the way through to, you know, the end of the 30th anniversary. And that's what I wanted. That's the stuff that spoke to me. And, you know, I even created my own team, and I got vehicles and everything for them, too. You guys have seen it. It's my shit. And it hurts me to see, I mean, it's not that serious. It's not like I'm going to lose sleep. But it does kind of suck, and it hurts me to believe that, you know, at one point in time, Hasbro really did want to show us, the fans, our appreciation for helping them get where they got. Now that they're there, and they've been there for so long, now they're like, fuck it, man. We're about to phase this shit out. And I'm like, dude, there's still a couple things that you could still make that would be awesome, and I would be totally behind it, and I would spend the money. Please make those things. You know what I mean? And they're not doing it. Instead, they're listening to the jack-offs that want everything no matter what it is. So, you know what I mean? You do go look at what I'm saying, you know, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I'll put the link to FormBx 257's video so you can check him out. He's actually a vintage G.I. Joe collector, so it was kind of odd for him to do a video on this. But I think just as a Joe collector, and he's friends with other people who collect different eras, he's noticing how ridiculous it is. Hasbro's just not doing what they should be doing. This should be like them putting out the best shit they ever made should be happening now. Because 50 years is a milestone. How many other lines can say they've been around for 50 years? Transformers hasn't even been around for 50 years. And that's literally like the other thing that's as well known. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, go do your thing. Look it up. See what I'm talking about. Hit me up in the comments and let me know how you guys feel about this stuff. If you even feel some kind of way, if you care, if you've just come to your own conclusion with how you're going to collect these things, you know? Just, you know, get at me. That's it for me, guys. You've been great. Peace outside.